JGE here, and in front of me I have the Bose ProFlight Series 2. This is their aviation headset and the in-ear buds. And today we're just gonna have a first look at it for a teardown. So I'll be going along and taking a look on the inside with you guys, and we'll see how it's made. So let's get into it. I'm not sure exactly what tools we'll be using, but you'll be able to find all the tools that I'm using here at JGE&x, and there will be parts available as well. Alright, let's get into it. First thing that we'll do, we'll go ahead and just disconnect. Alright, so we got the microphone boom here, as well as this console here. It's all as one piece. So we'll go ahead and just set this aside. Alright, now we got the unit in front of us. So first thought here, I'm thinking that this may pop out, but it may not. So we're not going to risk pulling on that there. What we're going to go ahead do is we got a few screws here. Let's see if there's any hidden over here. So it looks like we got these two screws. That'll probably have this get separated right here, and same thing on the other side. So let's go ahead and get these screws out, and we'll get this plastic shell off, and we'll see what we have there and go from there. Alright, so the first screw seems to be a PH, so this is S2 PH0. And we'll go ahead and start off with the right side first. Now it does seem that there's a cap here, so I'm going to push down just as we did on the other side. Yep, there we go. While we're at it, I'm just going to go ahead and unscrew the left side here. I'm going to grab a plastic spudger here and see if we can separate this plastic. It does seem that we have some kind of collar here. I'm not sure if it's sitting inside or not. We'll find out here in a second. Okay, so this plastic seems pretty loose. So let's see if we can push up this plastic here. Alright, what I'm going to do is just apply a little bit of heat here, just to soften up some of that adhesive. Okay, so it looks like what we could do is just sitting here mechanically. So we might want to just get up under here, and we can, there's a small divot right there. We can probably just push up on that. So we will do that once we get to the other side. Okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and disconnect this ribbon just to free up this left side. Alright, we'll leave this for now. Let's go ahead and work on the other side here. Now that we kind of know how it works here, just friction fit on there. Probably don't need that alcohol, but could probably use a flat head here and just push in that divot, but we're just trying not to have any potential scratches of any kind on here. So we're going to continue using this plastic spudger here. And this is metal here, which is great. And this metal collar here seems like you won't be able to take it off through here because there's raised plastic molding here. So potentially alright. Got the collar off. I'll just work it from the back. this pointed up. So with this like pointed up here, you can take this more flatter side, pull it out a little bit and up a little bit. Alright, let's keep the board off of that right there. So it looks like the board likes to sit in right here on that plastic piece, so push that down in and that should free it up. Alright, so we got, looks like it's sitting on some double-sided tape, so we'll pick that up. Alright, this is currently where we are at. So we got the left side off, the right side off. Now we got the band here. Alright, so we could go further with this headband, but I think we will leave it here. But there are 2 screws on each side, and you should be able to then go ahead and be able to put on a new leather and cushion here. So you would free it up over here, and then the new one would come on, and then you would just pinch it again in place after you know, it gets folded and put into place here. But the 2 collars stay on. You got your ribbon that goes through, that makes connections to both sides. So let's go ahead and set this aside for now, and let's take a look at this here and see what we can do here. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to go ahead and remove some of this adhesive that's over here. So we're going to take a heat gun to this, warm up that adhesive and slowly take it off, making sure that you don't damage those wires. This is really hard adhesive, so we're going to have to make sure that we keep it warm as we're going, or we will potentially tear those wires. So we're going to take this nice and slow. First, you're going to grab here our tweezers, just so that's ready. Actually, I want a sharper tweezer there, so I'll grab a different one. So usually the plastic on these connectors have a melting point that's a lot lower than the other plastic parts here. So we're gonna have to be careful not to apply too much heat to the other plastic components so they do not deform. So I'm just gonna lower my air speed here, airflow. And I'll point it away from that connector, but still getting that adhesive there. Warming up. Oh yeah, it's softening up. Okay, that's actually coming off a lot easier than I anticipated. Some of these are very difficult to get off, but once we applied that heat, it became rubberized. So again, we're just going to make sure we're applying enough heat that when we're lifting it up, we're not damaging any of those wires, we're not pulling on them or tearing them.
Hey, this is Joe from the sauna. If this video brought you value, please support us by buying parts, tools, refurbished electronics, or sending your device in for repair so we can keep offering you free repair tutorials. Back to the video.
Okay. That's looking good there. So the nice thing here that I noticed is that the boards here tell you that this is the ProFlight and this is the left side that we're working on. So the board itself tells you for what side that it's in, left side. And do make note of the colors here for the wires so you know where to put it back. Alright, what I'm going to do is grab some flux and just put on the contact points here. We are a authorized reseller for this flux, so any that you buy from JGE.com is genuine. I'm going to use tweezers just to pick up the wires as we unsolder them. Alright, so that's the first row. I'll get these out of the way so you can take a look at the next wires here and get the colors for that if you need it. Right, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Let's take a look and see if that wire is going through the board or what's going on over here. Okay, so it does seem that that wire there goes right into there. So we could get some solder wick and take out some of that solder. Or we could go ahead and just heat that up and pull it out. So we're gonna attempt that. Probably want to throw on a little bit of a larger tip for this one, but we'll attempt to pull it out. Alright. So here's a look at our board. And again, this is the left side. Let's go ahead and do the same thing, but to the right side, and then we'll proceed with getting the speaker out and taking a look at this mechanism here. Alright, now that we know what to expect, it should go a little smoother. Again, don't pull once it starts cooling down. Just make sure it's nice and warm. Alright, setting the board here. Alright, we'll proceed with the same process here. Make sure that we keep these wires separated. Alright, so here we have the left board, and here we have the right board. Again, it says right. Alright, so now what we got left here is this mechanism, as well as the speakers. We won't be taking apart the speaker completely, like the actual speaker. These do look like they're similar to the 𝐾𝐨30s. They do have some slight differences. I noticed that compared to the 𝐾𝐶30s earbuds that Bose makes, but really similar design. So we're just going to go ahead and remove it from the housing here. And from the looks of it, it just seems that it's sitting here on adhesive. So potentially if we get rid of that collar there, we might be able to even just feed it through. But what we're going to do is we're just going to take out this whole section here. So I'm going to remove this arrow here. It says push to release. What I'll do is apply some heat over here, and we will just push it out. Let's do that. I'll increase my airflow a little bit. Alright, and that came out great. That came out with relative ease there. Really nicely. Now, if you're wanting to replace just this bud, I would advise when putting it back together to use cold press. And to find that, you can just go to JGE.com and search cold press and you will find it there. Alright, that's as far as we're going to go with the buds. Now let's take a look at this mechanism here and see if we want to get that removed or not. Alright, so this is as far as we're going to go with the teardown on this, but if you did want to go further, so I do see that this is circular over here, mechanism, and it seems like it'll come out fairly easy. So you got this here, you probably want to pull that out. Then we got a metal plate right here, and that has a almost like flower look to it, and that's where it falls inside the grooves, right? So we see it moving right there, right? It's bending. So from the looks of what happens here is you would want to remove this top right here. Just expand those two out, remove them. That metal piece probably comes up straight, and then you should be able to just push it out. The end right there. You just pop that out. But we're going to keep it here. And your buds also state what side they are. So as you can see, it has an L here, so don't worry about getting them mixed up, as the right one will also say R on it, on the actual housing. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove this earbud here. Again, we're just going to apply some heat, and as we apply it, we're just going to have a nice little, you can pull it a little bit. You don't want to pull too much if you have pressure. I find that just when doing that left side there, that is better just to push it with the plastic spudger. That way you're not putting any strain on that wire. And that's what we're going to do. All right. And there is our right bud, our left bud here. All right, and that concludes our time here. It was nice to see how Bose has designed this, fairly repairable for what it is here. If you do have something broken, it shouldn't be too difficult to do this repair. I would say most people can, with having the equipment at home, should be fairly easy. Seems that you will just need your Phillips here, a spudger, a heat gun to heat up some of that adhesive. If you have a hairdryer at home, that can probably work as well. Just to make sure you can funnel that to not heat up the plastics here, and a soldering iron if you need to get to the point where you need to remove the board here for like some of the speakers here, to just unsolder and solder it back on. Well, that's how you tear down the ProFlight Series 2 aviation headset. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you guys love what we do, please support us. You guys can click on the links that we have on the end screen. You guys can buy parts, sales, or service so we can continue to make great videos for you guys for many more years. Thank you.